Yay. I think I'm live. Yay. Happy Monday, everyone. It's Carla here, and I'm coming on this March 14th to, as each Monday, come on to recap our Monday call and just really get you caught up to speed if you weren't able to join us this morning on the live call about what we're going to focus on this week in our group. So our mantra this week is, even when the world around me feels chaotic, my inner world is filled with peace and serenity. This feels just really important right now, where the world does feel a little chaotic. We are definitely, just coming out of 2 years of COVID. We have gas prices that are soaring. We have some food that's not coming into our grocery stores. We have people leaving the workforce at an alarming rate. We have a war in the Ukraine. We have other wars around the world. And it all feels like a lot of, stuff going on, and that can feel chaotic. And when we are in that chaos feeling, we can often then really get stuck in overwhelm, isolation, rumination, uncertainty, these feelings that are super negative, that feel really hard and burdensome and heavy. I, as a young kid, learned how to really find this peace and serenity inside, because there was a lot of chaos in my personal life. And so my sister and I kind of created this little world that felt safe between us and inside us. I didn't really know that that was what I was doing. And as I've gotten older and much more intentional about this practice of having inner peace in my life, I definitely have learned how to tap into that, so that when things feel sort of out of my control, I have this internal resource to rely on to keep me calm and feeling like centered and grounded. So I asked people this morning to just consider, is the news of the world right now and its effects on us in our daily life, is it impacting you in a negative way? So I want you to just consider that question. And, it was really beautiful for people to voice a multitude of ways that it was impacting them and the people that they love and care about. And so that's really important. And we also did this, I love using this tool of just giving yourself a number between 1 and 10 to really understand where you're sitting in sort of, within a feeling. So if we're talking about inner peace, 1 being I feel completely uncertain, overwhelmed, out of myself, and 10 being I have complete inner peace, balance, harmony, contentment. And then give yourself a number. And then, as I mentioned, want to make sure 3 things don't happen. 1, that you don't judge yourself for your number or judge yourself based on other people's numbers. So 2, don't compare yourself to other people. And 3, know that that number can fluctuate a lot, and so you're not stuck at a number. So just do those 2 exercises maybe by yourself. You can absolutely share any of your comments or your numbers in the chat once, if you're watching this live, or if you want to share it when you watch it at the, if you're watching it, I can't remember what that's called, whatever, you know what I mean, if you're watching it later on. So many people that I've spoken to over the last little while have shared that they really are feeling overwhelmed, worried, and even deeper, guilty, right? So we feel maybe guilty for having our life be easier, or we're not in suffering, right? And it's, of course, understandable, because we are sensitive, kind, generous, caring people. So of course, when we have images bombarding us all day long, or people talking about something all the time, we can feel it so deeply in our hearts. And so I just want to point out, though, that those negative emotions of overwhelm, worry, guilt, they don't serve you, and they are not going to help you get to a place of positive, helpful actions. So we have to shift that, right? When we are in this place of overwhelm and worry, we tend to isolate ourselves, ruminate in our heads, and feel incredibly stuck. So we are in inaction because we're stuck in these thoughts. So the best way to really shift this is to cultivate inner peace. I shared this definition this morning. Inner peace is the state of physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual calm despite stressors, right? It's really our inability, it's our ability to connect with contentment, satisfaction, joy, balance, harmony from within, regardless of our circumstances. And so, inner peace is really important because it helps us to kind of function better on a day-to-day basis. Because we are filling ourselves with this feeling of contentment and calm, we of course can show up for others in a more kind and compassionate way. We're not as affected by negative external forces that we see, hear, feel. We have tools to work on them. We sleep better. We have clearer judgment. So there's all of these really beautiful benefits of cultivating inner peace. And so I shared 7 practices that I'll share with you now, so that you can start to create a daily practice around inner peace, right? And I just want to always say, these are suggestions. There's many ways to do this, and you want to pick the ways that work for you. And also that you don't need to do all 7 tomorrow, right? This is my lifelong work. And so on any given day, I try to add these in or be really intentional or really conscientious of building my practice so it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And so I want you to also think of this as practice, that every day you're going to just think, oh, I really am working on this inner peace piece, and so I'm going to do this small thing today. Or in the middle of the day when you realize that you're not working from this place, then you could just add it in, right? Okay, so the first one was spend some time in nature. Nature is this beautiful reminder to us that things work, right? Nature is in constant just movement and growth and flow, right? Nature is present. Nature is a reminder that there's a bigger things than just our human life, right? And it connects us to ourselves because we are obviously natural beings. And for me, it's really a beautiful way to connect with my spirituality, right? So this is like source energy. And trees are my favorite. Trees are what I connect to the most. I love to hug a tree, or even when I'm just walking, I'll just touch the bark of a tree. It just reminds me of the organizing power of the universe, nature, all of these things that, this tree just grows, that it has this cycle that it does, just which always happens in this beautiful way. So spending time in nature can really get us grounded and connected to ourselves. Number 2 is meditation. And when I say meditation, I use sort of traditional guided meditation for my practice. But what I really mean is to get into some sort of mindfulness exercise that you're practicing on a regular basis, right? Because this is going to get us out of ruminating thoughts, because we're going to be able to see our thoughts more clearly and create some space, right, for ourselves. And this present moment thinking is what helps us to feel okay in any given moment, right? So we want to practice breath work. Maybe you're doing 4 breaths in, you're taking 4 seconds to breathe in, you're holding for a couple of seconds, and then taking 4 counts out, and then maybe holding for a couple, and you do that 10 times. You're just going to feel more centered and connected to yourself and out of those thoughts and into yourself, right? You might use meditative music or yoga, or as I mentioned, some sort of meditation, guided or otherwise, but just practicing mindfulness is really going to shift things for you. Number 3 is be grateful. Noticing that our life is a blessing is powerful. It is so incredibly important for us to get connected to this idea that our life is a gift. Also, we don't want to take the little things for granted. When we are able to see the little things and be grateful for them, it's like, I love the idea of this visual of a twinkle lights, Christmas lights, that if every time we didn't take something for granted, we noticed something small that we can be grateful for, it's like turning on a little light. And so you might feel like you're in darkness right now, turn on a little light. Turn on another one. And it's not like that's going to be like a big glow, but if we keep doing that, we are going to get to feel lighter, right? I just want us to know that the idea of gratitude really helps us to feel hopeful, right? Inside. When we have things to be grateful for, even in distressing situations. So it might just be if you're seeing these images of families, crossing a border and being, displaced. And then I saw this beautiful image of all the strollers lined up of Polish families had taken all of their strollers and lined them up at a train station. So all these moms who have had to carry their children for days on end had somewhere to put their kids, finally. And I'm so grateful to those people for thinking about it, I'm grateful to the photographer for taking that photo so I could feel connected to that moment for all of those moms. I'm grateful, to our humanity as a whole. So those little blessings give us hope, right? That's what we want to be connected to so much more, because the more we are influenced by that, the more we're seeing the world from that place. Number 4, take responsibility for your actions. It's so easy to be in victim mentality right now and feel like as if the world is a disaster and it's so hard for you and this is not working out and I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to survive. Like all of these things. And really, when we can take responsibility for those thoughts and say, no, I'm going to be in problem solving mode, I'm going to figure out what I can do, then we can take responsibility for our actions and we take good actions. So right now for us in North America, and maybe in parts of Europe, if you're listening, turning off the news, you can take responsibility for that. If the news is causing you to ruminate in your thoughts and worry and be overwhelmed, then you have the ability to literally turn it off and decide how much you're going to consume and curate what you put into your mind, right? So take responsibility for that. Number 5 is love yourself. Self-care is essential. It is so helpful in helping us combat difficult feelings because it's nurturing, right? Self-care is the action of self-love, right? And so what unfortunately happens when we're in challenge is that we often let go of the best practices that help us in chaotic times. And really we need to make sure that we're doing them the most. So I ask people to write down a practice that you want to return to, whatever that is, and then also write down how it will help you to feel more at peace. Okay, so take a minute to do that. You can share that in the comments if you want to. Number 6, practice acceptance and understanding, right? We want to practice impeccable language. So we can be angry at politics. We can be angry at policy. We can be angry at people, but we need to really be conscientious about how we talk about people, right? We want to be angry without put downs. We want to make sure we're not overgeneralizing and saying all these people or this person is a villain or, right? We want to just really be careful about understanding that we are all part of this human race and that the way we are going to come together is by finding some common ground, right? And so I'm not saying to always forget what people are doing or think that everyone's great. I'm not saying any of those things, but just be conscious of how you're speaking. We often just label people or overgeneralize, and we just need to figure that little piece out so that we are speaking about what we mean, but we are not doing it in a way that's painting a picture of the good and evil, right? Because there's so much in between there. And the last one is focus on what you want. What we focus on expands. If you spend too much time in catastrophe thinking, then you're inviting your brain to perceive the world through that lens. So I want you to take time to pray for and focus on peace, on generosity, on hope, on love. Because focusing on what you don't want or what you can't do is just going to invite more of that in. Instead, focus on what you can do, right? We really want to be in this idea of what we have control over. This is what serenity is really about, right? What do I have control over? Focus on that and allow for what you don't have control over to not consume you. Optimism, hope, love, kindness, generosity are just as possible to think about as fearful thoughts once we train ourselves to be mindful. So I encourage each of you to, understand the power you have to create inner peace, and then understand that inner peace, that if you're operating from that place, that's going to ripple out into the world. And that's really how we're going to make the world a different place, because our generosity, our joy, our satisfaction, our contentment, our acceptance, our understanding, our gratitude, all of these things, those are going to have power, right? We're going to be able to change the world one person at a time, one smile at a time, one good deed at a time, one donation at a time, one activist march at a time. We are all going to make a difference when we can come at life from this place where we know that we're okay inside. We are the solid thing in our life, right? And that's really what inner peace is all about. How we want to show up in the world, how we want to see ourselves, how we want to love us and then the world. All right. So I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to know what you're doing to create inner peace in your life. So please share in the comments or reach out to me in a DM. And just a note, next week I will not have a Monday morning call because I'll be in the air flying. So the 21st, there's no Monday mantra call, and I will pick up again on Monday the 28th. I wish you all a beautiful week, start to the week, and to just finding your inner peace each and every day. Take good care. Bye.